Hey there, Willowbrook. Thanks so much for doing our deep dive with us. Today we are finishing up Genesis chapter 8, and we actually have only 3 verses that we're looking at, verses 20 through 22. They're not the verses that I've paid a lot of attention to or spent as much time with when I think of the story of Noah. When I think of Noah, I think 2 by 2. I think of a big boat. I think of rain for the first time. I think of a flood. I think of a rainbow. But I don't think of these 3 verses. You see, the 3 verses that we read today, verses 20 through 22, are verses about what happens when Noah gets off the boat. And I think that I've just kind of read these and not given a lot of thought to the fact that Noah didn't have to do what Noah did. You see, it tells us in verse 20 that Noah built an altar to the Lord. And it says that he sacrificed offerings to the Lord, even that verse 21, the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, never again will I curse the ground because of man, even though every inclination of his heart is evil from childhood. You see, Noah is building an altar. He's worshiping God. In fact, an altar here is a way of consecration, of saying, you have saved me, and now I consecrate my life to you. Now, I think that this seems like an automatic response because we're reading it. I was like, sure, that's a good thing for Noah to do. In fact, Noah is given credit for it later in the New Testament for his faith in God and what he walked through. But he didn't have to. Noah was a man. He was a fleshly being. He was a sinner. And I've thought about sometimes what some of our responses are when we walk through a storm. Well, that's what Noah did. I mean, he quite literally just went through a storm of life, through it. God didn't take him around it. He wasn't escaped from it. He went through the storm. Never before had he seen rain. I can't imagine the fear of the future, of uncertainty that was tied to that. How about the fact that there was probably not much that was pleasant about what he was experiencing? He's losing people that he knows. The grief tied to it. And Noah has not escaped this. Noah is going through that. No, he could have gotten off that boat and been mad. Why? Why did you take me through this? Why did I have to go through this? Why didn't you let me escape it so that it wasn't hard? But that's not what Noah does. In fact, I'm reminded of Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Noah probably had some questions, but he trusted God. He didn't lean on his understanding and certainly his lack of understanding. But in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. That's what Noah's doing. He's acknowledging God. God, you saved me. You saved me. You saved my family. Not, why did I walk through this? God, you saved me. Your past, your present struggle, the anxiety you carry, they can be Satan's greatest weapon against you, or they can be God's greatest tool for his kingdom. Noah had a choice. Was he going to be mad at God? Could Satan have used it? Yes, he could. But Noah let it be a tool for God's kingdom. A story that you don't have to have grown up in Sunday school to know. In fact, lots of people all over the world know this story, whether they are of a Christian tradition or not. Noah was a man of faith that trusted God, and then he thanked God. He set up an altar. He consecrated his life to God. And God responded with compassion and a promise to never flood the earth that way Again, not because man wouldn't sin, man would. God acknowledged that. But Noah set the course for a promise that we enjoy today because he acknowledged God. He thanked God, despite what he walked through, despite the hard time. But because God was with him, God saved him. God saved you. He's walked you through some trials, through some storms. Have you thanked him? Or are you carrying around some bitterness or some anger towards him? How do you see that? Are you acknowledging where God was in the middle of that? Or are you letting it be a weapon that Satan uses against you? Willowbrook, God loves you. He's with you. He's walking with you. I hope you'll have a happy Wednesday.